Hello everyone, my name is Cora Ellen Young and I am doing this video to hopefully give you all some coaching on how to handle nerves and some techniques for figuring out how to use those nerves to your advantage, especially in any type of public speaking situation, whether it is presenting in front of a camera or whether it's in front of a live audience. So, to start off with, I want to give you a little bit of a preview of what I'm going to be discussing. I am going to be talking about some common nerve symptoms that I see in the majority of my students, and then I'm going to be giving you all some common sense solutions for those types of nerves. I'm going to give you a few general tips that are of a more broad application for how to control your nerves and use them to your advantage in a presentation situation. Now, to give a little bit of background about myself, I am an instructor of communication and I have been an instructor for several years. And I have seen several thousand students come through my classrooms, and all of them at some point have been nervous. So if you feel that your nerves are something that is specific to you only, no. Everyone experiences nerves. Even the presenters who are super confident and can't wait to jump into this class, they're going to feel some nerves too, even if it's only for the first 30 seconds that they turn on that webcam. So I want you to kind of work through this with me and see if you have any help that you can derive from this. And if you have questions for me, as always, email me and I'll do what I can to help you. Now, first off, I want to talk about some of the more common symptoms of nerves that I see, and I'm going to begin with the ones that I feel whenever I am presenting. Although I am a communications instructor and I've been teaching public speaking and argumentation for years, I still get nervous whenever I have a presentation that has a lot on the line, whether that is presenting to my boss or whether that's at a communications conference where everyone out there is an expert. I still feel nervous, and my typical symptoms are my heart rate rises so much that I can only hear my heart rate in my ears. I can't even hear my own voice, and then my knees will shake. Not fun. The thing here is I have learned how to hide those so that my audience does not see that I am feeling terrified. You are fine if you are nervous, and you can be nervous the entire presentation. The secret is just not letting your audience in on it. Now, if I have the issue of my knees shaking whenever I give a presentation, there has to be some type of technique for holding that back or covering it up. Well, for me, it was pretty simple. Wear a floor-length skirt or wide leg pants. That way, whoever was watching me in the audience, I could still strike my confident pose and push my voice out there, but my audience couldn't see my knees shaking. And normally, nerves kind of calm down within the first minute of a presentation. So after about a minute and a half, everything calms down. That fight or flight response is kind of relaxed a little. Now, other common nerve symptoms I see in my students would be hands shaking, would be stuttering or stumbling over words, talking too fast, and my personal favorite one, itching. I have so many students who come to the front of class and it's just like they're having to break out of hives, which I have experienced, not fun. And they come up there and they're rubbing and they're scratching, and my advice is just to try not to do that. If you do get itchy, then just find a way to focus your mind on your speech and not on the itching. Now, with the stuttering one, or talking too fast, or stumbling over words, how do you get around that? There has to be a technique workaround for that. And there is. And it's easy. Breathe. That's it. Breathe. If you feel you are getting out of control because you are talking too quickly or stumbling over too many words, just stop and take a breath. And then jump right back into your speech. It's okay. Everyone has to breathe. So if you stop and take a breath, it's not like you're the only one who's doing that. And it will help calm those nerves down and put you back in control of the situation. Another workaround for removing your ability, I guess I shouldn't say ability, I would say probability of stuttering or stumbling, would be to practice. If you know what's coming next, if you know how to pronounce all those authors' names or the titles of research, then that is also going to calm you because you know what to expect. You know how to get through those difficult terms or vocabulary words that you might not have experienced prior to your speech. Another workaround for stumbling or stuttering or rambling on is to have an outline. That outline helps you be prepared with your presentation. It helps you keep on topic and keep on task and focused as you present. It'll show you where you've been, where you are, and more importantly, where you are going. So that way you will be able to keep track of your information and it'll keep you on topic as you go. Some other nerves ones that I see, I mentioned it before, was the handshaking. A mistake a lot of presenters do is whenever they are nervous and they have an outline, what they do is present like this. This is the view I get for the entire presentation. Or if they're reading an outline from their computer, I get this look where I can see that they're reading the entire time and they're not connecting with me. That is typical because eye contact is difficult. And it's very difficult when you have yourself on your computer staring back at you, trying to make eye contact with yourself. It's not easy to do. It can be very weird and unnerving. Well, first solution, first technique for a workaround for this would be, if you have a physical outline, put it in your non-dominant hand and have it held down. You can do this if you're sitting or if you're standing, but it does not need to be right in front of you and it doesn't need to be right in front of you. It needs to be down so that I'm forced to connect with this camera and with the people that are in front of me. If I do forget my next point or a citation or something I really do need to know, then I can look at it while switching hands. Oh, John Smith in 2015 said, and then you move right back to your audience. So that way, again, you're not having your head down, you're not focusing on an outline, you're not reading something on a computer, and you're not showing your audience if your hands are shaking. Because think about it, if I'm holding an outline right here, you're going to see if I'm shaking. If I'm shaking down here, nobody knows. Even if you're in front of a group of people and you don't have a camera here in front of you, they're still not going to be watching your hands. They're watching your face. This is what they're looking for because this is where the information is coming from. Now, another workaround would be to keep yourself on task with that outline and be prepared for it. But here's the one for getting over nervousness in front of a camera. Practice in a mirror. Try that. I actually did this well before webcams became popular and online classes were a thing. When I was a beginning public speaking student and I was back there trying to figure out how to make myself memorable for my audience, I would tell my family, I'm going to go upstairs and talk to myself for about an hour. Please do not disturb me. I'm practicing in front of a mirror. They would kind of laugh about it, and of course it was kind of laughable. But I would go upstairs, get in front of my mirror, and I would just sit there and talk to myself, and I would go through my outline again and again and again. That way I knew all the difficult vocabulary words, I could pronounce all the names, I knew how to transition from point to point, I knew when to expect research, but most importantly, I could read myself. This is so important. You need to know yourself. Nonverbal communication is one of the most key ways of getting data across to an audience. They might like what you've said and how you've worded it, but you really don't sell that idea or convince them of the veracity of the idea unless you are selling it with all of this. So when I practice in a mirror, I realized I use my hands a lot. I've actually redone this video a few times because I had the camera to where I couldn't see my hands, so I had to keep on moving back so that I could see myself using my hands. Whenever I tilt my head, it's always this way. Notice here, I'm tilting my head. It's a very popular thing. That's what I do whenever I'm presenting. So I learned that I don't tilt my head this way. I tilt it this way. My neck actually just popped when I tilted it that way. That's how rarely I tilt it that way. I also learned that my eyebrows are pretty active and I have them come up in the middle a lot, whether it's a sad face or a serious face. That's kind of my push with my eyebrows. And I learned that I have a tendency to turn. You've probably seen it about 15 times in this video when I really want to emphasize something and my eyes narrow. And that all might sound like common sense. Well, yeah, that's typical nonverbal behavior. But are you aware of yours? Do you know what you do nonverbally when you're nervous? Do you know what you do nonverbally when you're confident? I mean, how many times have you watched yourself have a conversation with somebody? This is the beauty of what you all get to do with submitting your presentations as a video, because you get to watch yourself. Yes, it is unnerving, but it has so many amazing advantages because you can see your imperfections and you can see your strengths. You can see what you do that is animated and convincing and entertaining. And you can also see where you need a little bit of work. Ooh, maybe I should smile more and be a little bit more engaging. Maybe I should not use my hands so much. Maybe I shouldn't read an outline that's down here in front of me so that my audience doesn't get this view. These are things that you can only find out when you do watch yourself. My advice to you would truly to be practice in front of a mirror a couple of times before you start practicing in front of a camera. So this way you can already have an idea of where your posture is, where is your chin, where are your hands, and what do you do. Now, those are some of the main workarounds for nerves, some of the typical ones that I see, and some common sense ways to get around them. If you have a specific symptom of nervousness that comes up with you, I would love it if you would email me and say, hey, this is what I do, this is what it does to me. What would be some good ways to work around that as I'm developing my public speaking skills? That would be great. Always do that. I'm totally there to help you through your individual needs. Some people are not in the cookie cutter mold. They have a different set of needs, especially when it comes to nerves and presenting. And that's fine, and I will help you coach through every single one of those pieces. Now, all good presentations have a memorable closing line, so here is mine for you. You are in control of your communication, and your skills are only going to go as far as you take them. So analyze yourself. Really work through all the ins and outs of the way that you communicate, both verbally and non-verbally, and take control. You are the presenter, which means you have the right to be the one presenting. Take control of that, own it, and be the leader of that room. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if I can help you in any way.